Welcome to the Epilogue to the Gospel of John Bible Study here at Cedar Grove United Methodist Church. I'm Pastor Brian Boley. We have gone through the 20 chapters of the Gospel of John. As we mentioned at the beginning, the Gospel of John was the last of the four Gospels to be written. Other than the revelation of St. John, it was probably the last thing to be written in the New Testament. It being written somewhere after the year 80, probably in the 90s. John the Apostle had become an old man. He had moved to Ephesus in Turkey, what is today Turkey, but then was part of Greece. With him, he had taken Mary, the mother of Jesus. He served as the bishop there for many years until he ran afoul of the authorities and was exiled to the island of Patmos, where he eventually had the vision that enabled him to write the revelation of St. John. It should be noted that more than the other three, John was very specific about how he wrote his gospel to take us along the path, questioning at every level, who is this Jesus? Some of the other gospels, they focused upon telling us what Jesus did, like Mark and like Matthew. Matthew focused on telling us what he did and showing how it fit into the Old Testament. He assumed that the reader knew a lot about the Old Testament. Mark didn't. Mark just assumed that you were an ordinary Roman citizen but needed to know the power of Jesus. Luke talks more about the politics of the situation. But John wanted to focus in on making sure that you understood that Jesus was human and Jesus was God in the flesh. There are a lot of people today who believe that Jesus was a good teacher. There are a lot of people who believe that Jesus was one of the great wise men of history, like Socrates or Plato, like the Buddha. But John wants to make sure that we hear all those things that Jesus said and watch what he did, which does not allow us to come to the conclusion that Jesus was merely a wise man. Jesus insisted that he was God in the flesh. If you've seen Jesus, you've seen God the Father, and that's according to Jesus. Jesus said, I and the Father are one in chapter 10. He said, I am, repeatedly. And every time that he did that, the Jews around him picked up stones to attack him for blasphemy. He made claims and he did things that only God can do, like forgive sins. And he did his miracles. And he said, even if you don't believe what I'm saying about myself, he said, believe in the strength of the miracles. Once when I was a young Christian, before that I had read such things as the Chariots of the Gods books back when I was in high school. And so I decided one day to just start working through the Gospels and trying to explain everything that happened as though Jesus were, for example, an extraterrestrial visitor, an alien. You go very far and it becomes ludicrous. If he isn't God on the earth, he is just as powerful as God would be on the earth. Walk through again. John does not want us to stop having read the book once. John wants us now that we know the ending, John wants us to go back to the beginning and read it through a second time, because that is when a lot of things where we were questioning before, this is when it makes sense. It's no accident that many people over the years have said to people who are thinking about becoming Christians, read the book of John. Don't start at Genesis. Start at John. Or perhaps read Mark and then John. Because this is the core of Jesus' teaching. And you know, it comes down very simple. He was God walking on the earth. He wanted to tell us that he was representing God and that God loved us. He had not come to destroy us, to condemn us, but he came to bring us back to him. He came with love. He went to the cross on purpose, voluntarily. He knew it was coming, and he had asked, God, take it away, but not my will, your will, he said. And so he continued to the cross, even though he could have been rescued by all the angels at his command. He died on the cross, and then, as he said, I have the right to lay down my life and to take it up again. He took up his life again and appeared first, according to John, to Mary, and then to about 10 of the disciples, and then the 11th shows up, doubting Thomas, and we go from there. Go back, read quickly now through the Gospel of John. Don't read it in an old translation, read it in one of the newer translations that I've used, and just read it from start to finish. It will take you less than a week. You may be able to do it in an evening. And a lot of things will fall into place that the first time through did not make sense. There is a reason why this book has stayed with us for 2,000 years. Because it was once a separate book. We have found scrolls, pieces of scrolls that date from as early as 110 to 115 AD of the Gospel of John, 20 years after it was probably written. And you know, in that time, that scroll had moved from where it was written in Turkey to the desert of Egypt. It was an important book. It was recognized as an important book very early. And there is no doubt that it talks about the Jesus who actually lived. I hope you'll join us with other Bible studies in the future, and I hope you'll come attend our church when you're in the area. That's Cedar Grove United Methodist Church. We're located on Route 47 near Parkersburg, West Virginia. We're about 1.5 miles east of I-77. On the left, you'll see us up on the hill. Our services are at 10:30, and we ask that you would come join us. Be blessed.